Hi everyone, I'm Adam Brady of Straight Blast Warrior JKD and RevisedReality.com. Welcome back to Kettlebell Basics. This is the second exercise, which is the goblet squat. Now the goblet squat is kind of the opposite of the kettlebell swing. The kettlebell swing is where we had maximum hip hinge and minimum knee bend. That was something I should probably clarify there. When we're doing the kettlebell swing, our knees are not bending much at all. There's very, very little bend in our knees. It's almost like your feet are in ski boots. So you're not going to be bending deep into your knees at all. They're going to stay maybe just a light degree of bend here as you swing, and all the work is happening in the hips. Now, in today's exercise, in the goblet squat, we're going to be bending our knees as deep as possible while hinging our hips at the same time. So this is a different mechanic. It's also a different type of movement. So the kettlebell swing is a ballistic, the goblet squat is a grind. So we're going slow and deep in our movements. We're breathing differently. The kettlebell swing was the explosive. This is a nice deep breaths as we move the kettlebell. So it's called the goblet squat because we're holding the kettlebell in a position resembling a goblet. Like if we were to hold it like right here, that's the idea where it's a goblet. We're cradling it right in the center of our chest. We're going to hold it by the horns, the portion of the handle that reaches right down into the kettlebell, and then we're going to squat down into that deep rack bottom squat. So I know I can't see it, you can't see it from this position, so we get back a little bit further. So basically, you're in that same shoulder width position, toes pointed out slightly, knees bent, so we're coming down to this position right here. Elbows will come inside the knee and we're holding the kettlebell right here, and then we're coming back up. Now, as I mentioned in the warm-up, you may not be able to get down that far, and that's okay. I certainly couldn't when I first started. It's an increasing level of flexibility that develops with practice. So just be easy on yourself. You can still do the goblet squat, you just don't go down as deep. So you'd be holding the kettlebell here, and you would be going down only as far as you can, right about to here, or whatever that level, that depth in hip mobility, knee mobility you happen to have. As always, listen to your body. If you have knee injury or hip injury or hip tightness, be very careful. Don't just jump right into this. Check with your doctor, make sure these movements are going to be okay, or use a much lighter kettlebell so that you can move through these exercises in comfort so that you start to feel them right, and then you can build your way up to strength as more flexibility builds up and you can do more things. So let me show you the entire exercise and how you want to think about it, getting in position properly and so on. So I'm going to bring the kettlebell back, and see, this is just as a note, this is natural for me to hinge my hips now. Like, you wouldn't want to round your back and try to pick up a kettlebell and reposition it, but if you hinge and your back is neutral, you can just grab the kettlebell and slide it back. There's no strain on my back right here because it's so straight. Okay, so for the goblet squat, you start with your feet framed around the bell. So it's directly beneath you. You don't have that little warm-up space for the hike back because there's no need for that. It's directly down. You want to have this nice position, knees slightly bent, that nice feeling of base sinking down into the earth a little bit. Take a deep breath in, get up nice and tall. Let your hands hang right in front of you here. As you exhale, bend your knees, grab the handle, and then you can just kind of pop it up. Bring it up, hold it by the horns, crush your handle in, close to your chest, hold it right at your chest. You can let it rest right up against your sternum, elbows in tight. Take a deep breath in, exhale, lower down, elbows come in between the knees if possible. Take another breath, press straight back up, lock it out. Again, lowering down, deep breath in, drive, exhale, drive up. So two more. Lower down. Nice snap at the top. One more. And press. Now, we want to lower it back down safely. You can do that one of two ways. You can just squat back down, or you can lower it down, keep your head up, and kind of come down into a little bit of deadlift position. Just as long as your hips are hinging, bring yourself down safely, keeping your spine neutral. So that's the goblet squat. And as far as the mechanics of the squat go, the knees are coming out slightly, the elbows are coming in a little bit, just inside the knees. Just let them graze as you come down. The most important thing is to maintain that neutral spine. And in the beginning, using a lighter weight is what's going to help you do that, because you're going to recognize as you go up in reps. That was 5 that I did. If you go up to 10, which is usually what's recommended as like kind of the top out point, regardless of whatever weight you're using, what happens is your back starts to get fatigued. There are lots of stabilizer muscles involved in holding this position because you're clamping it in, you're holding it here. It requires your back, it requires your arms. There's this dynamic tension through your upper torso and the rest of your body. And as you start to do these for reps, after you get to 8, 9, 10, the lower back and the center of your back, the mid back, is going to get to feel the fatigue faster than any other part of your body. Yeah, your arms might feel it, but they're kind of pushing against each other to hold in position and there's not as much risk to them. So you're going to feel the center of your back start to go. That's where you're going to feel it, and that's when you might round your back, and that's when injuries can occur. So it's typically recommended not to go over 10 reps if you're using, well, any weight really, until you really get the movement down. And even then, it's not really a safe idea, because even if you're super strong and you're using, say, a 53-pounder, and you're able to just like go through as many goblet squats as you want, super strong legs and hips and back, that's great. But the point I'm trying to drive home here is your back is the most vulnerable near the end of that 10 set sequence, because it starts to go first. The stabilizers start to go, and that's where you could be injured. So pay attention to that, and as you start to go up in your numbers there, as you get closer to 10, be really mindful. You'll start to feel it in the upper part of your back. But once again, that's the movement. The more you do this squat, the more this squatting position will feel very, very natural. This is kind of how our bodies evolved to squat, but we've kind of changed with most of our squatting exercises, especially for weight training. We've changed the position now to put the emphasis on the legs, so the hips don't get much involved, and then you're building leg muscles, which is great, but it's not the same as this natural position just to be down here comfortably. Keeping that straight back, that's so super important here, is to lengthen your spine, keep this straight line from the crown of your head the whole way down through your spine, even down at the bottom of the squat. So that's the goblet squat. Let me just go through it one more time so you can watch some of the fine movements here. Get that position, inhale up, hands come down, grab the bell. You can kind of pop it up, grab those horns, bring the elbows in nice and tight, hugging your sides. Sink your feet down into the mat. Deep breath in, exhale on the way down. Inhale, exhale. Drive up. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale up. One more. And we'll bring it down from here. Lower. And then you're back. Move your body. These use a lot of energy. I typically do like a Carenza flow, the Filipino Kali stick, or figure eights or something, just to move my body and keep it shifting. After I figure, number like I usually do about 3 sets of 10 of goblet squats, and then I'll do some cooling down movements in between. So just one note, as I pointed out, you can do a one-handed swing. You can also do a one-handed squat. It's not a goblet squat, it's called a racked squat. And racking is something that will come to us in a couple more lessons when we get to the clean. But for right now, it basically means that the kettlebell is cradled off to one side. So you can squat like that as well. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we can continue to build on it probably once we get to the clean, so you feel a little bit more comfortable with it. But you would get into this rack position from like a swing, like a standard one-hand swing, and I'll show you what the clean looks like so you can get up in this position, and then I'll show you the squat. That's really what I want you to see out of this. So you get in a position here, hike it back, clean it, and here it is in this position off to the side, cradled in, nice and strong, elbow hugging your ribs, arms out to the side, and then you squat just like you would otherwise. I'm going to switch hands just because I want to be balanced. Just let this fall, swing back. And park it. So I wouldn't recommend starting off with that. work your way through the goblet squat, because the goblet squat is what's going to help you really develop the mechanics of your lower body for the squat. That's important. Then you can work on shifting it from one side to the other later on. All these additional details you can build on, but the foundation is the squat itself. That's the most important part. So once again, the difference between the swing and the squat. Swing is a ballistic. Swing uses a very little knee bend. Squat is a grind. Squat uses a full deep knee bend, going down as deep as you can comfortably, and just getting used to that rack bottom position. The more you do it, that garland pose, if you do that, if you're able to do that garland pose, or just squat down like this a couple times a day, for me, this is a great way to loosen my body up. I've got a standing desk at work, so I stand most of the day, and after a while my body gets really tight. So what I do, just to loosen everything up here, is just to come down and just hang out. Just kind of move, drift from side to side a few times, maybe do that prying, bring your hands in, reverse prayer to open up your forearms a little bit. All these motions, really great functional primal movements. That's what's great about kettlebell movement, is it's bringing out a lot of that primal quality in how we move our bodies. So this squat, super powerful movement for your quads, for your hips, for your core. Everything has to be stable and strong as you bring that up. You notice that I'm not going loosey-goosey with my arms or any other part of my body. Everything tight and strong and focused as you bring it up. Top of the squat comes up, snap, deep breath in, exhale, lower back down. Now you can change your breathing once you become a little more proficient with it, but in the beginning, I really encourage you, take a deep breath in, exhale slow and controlled on the way down, take another quick inhale, and then same thing as you bring the weight back up, because that helps that deep, full diaphragmatic breathing, is what's often called breathing behind the shield of your tight core abdomen, and then you really enhance the strength and stability of your entire lower abdomen and your back as you breathe and drive up. So be careful with it, play around, take it easy, experiment, find the right weight, move at a comfortable place, and if any kettlebell that you have is too heavy, then just practice without the weight. Just get used to moving down in that position. As your body becomes more comfortable with it, then you'll be more and more ready to move up to adding the weight and building up from there. Thanks for watching. Stick around. I'll see you in the Get Up, the next video.